Hello there, and welcome to PhysioBeast. As you probably already know, I'm a physical therapist, and today I'm gonna do something that's gonna be very bad for my business. I'm gonna tell you what to do in order to stay out of my office. And as clickbaity as it sounds, yes, I am actually going to give you advice on how to greatly reduce your chances of ever needing the service of a physical therapist. Now, first, a quick disclaimer here, just to be clear. I'm not saying this is the absolute ultimate solution for everyone in every situation, as there are different individual cases, various specific conditions where this advice may be insufficient or even not very helpful. Neurological deficit is the first thing that comes to my mind, so people who've suffered a stroke or a spinal cord injury, for example. But that aside, the vast majority of people who come to the PT office come with something we usually call non-specific mechanical pain. Some kind of dysfunction or pain in the musculoskeletal system. Usually it's the back because everybody's back hurts. Often it's the shoulder, quite often it's the knee, especially if you're a runner, and since running is so popular, although maybe more than it should be, we get that a lot. Or they come with slightly to moderately serious injuries like sprains or muscle strains. So simply put, all kinds of aches, pains, strains, and so on. The advice I'm going to give you is your best bet for avoiding these, and I'm confident enough in saying that it is probably the single most powerful piece of advice you're ever going to receive regarding your health and physical well-being. So what is the secret magic trick to avoid injury and stay out of PT office? It's actually very simple. Improve your physical strength through effective strength training. First, in order to understand what makes strength training to have such a powerful positive impact on your health and injury resistance, we have to understand what strength itself actually is. And it's not nearly as complicated as a lot of people in the industry make it out to be. Strength is simply the ability to exert force against external resistance. That's it. The more force you're able to produce against external resistance, the stronger you are. If you can lift 300 pounds, you're stronger than someone who can only lift 295, even if you're 300 pounds of body weight yourself and that other person weighs 150. Strength isn't relative. You're still stronger because you can lift more weight, and that means produce more force with your muscles. The same way, there aren't many kinds of strength. You can sometimes hear ridiculous terms such as functional strength, which have no foundation in biomechanics, physics, or physiology. Strength isn't some vague, flexible term, but a very specific physical thing that we can measure. The said force you can generate against the resistance is obviously produced by your muscles. And from the mechanical standpoint, that's all your muscles do. They generate force. Now, this is crucial to understand because we shouldn't be associating strength only with activities such as lifting weights. The external resistance can be the force of gravity, your own body weight, somebody else's body weight, or any object you interact with within your environment. Every time you do something physical, you have to use your muscles, since your musculoskeletal system is a system of levers responsible for producing any sort of movement of your body. So that means every time you do something physical, every time you move, you're using your strength. In other words, every interaction with your physical environment is a strength event. Now, obviously, most of those events in our daily life are going to be very submaximal. Submaximal simply meaning not maximal. But the crucial thing to understand is that the higher your maximum strength is, all the submaximal efforts become even more submaximal. So that means easier and lighter. This is something that people who love to bring up terms such as functional strength usually fail to understand. You can hear them saying, but how does heavy strength training help you in your daily activities? How is lifting 500 pounds functional? You don't do it in your daily life. And that may sound like a good question until you start thinking about it a little more. Here's a counter question. Would you agree that lifting something that is 10% of your maximum strength is easier than lifting something that is 20% of your maximum strength? I don't think anybody is going to argue with that. So here's a simple example. Here's the deadlift. a pretty basic exercise in which you simply pick the weight up off the floor. Let's say that your current maximum deadlift strength is 200 pounds. This is the most weight that you can lift. And let's say you have a job in which you have to pick up and carry around 20-pound boxes, so that's 10% of your maximum strength. And let's also say that over the next couple of months, you dedicate yourself to strength training and you're able to increase your maximum deadlift strength to 400 pounds, so you doubled your strength. And that number, by the way, is not unreasonable for a healthy, grown human male. So now that 20-pound box isn't 10% of your maximum strength anymore, it's become 5%. It's gotten lighter, it's gotten easier for you to pick up and carry around. You can now carry them around for longer, with less effort, or maybe pick up 2 at a time. In other words, your work got easier because you have gotten stronger. You can apply this to any scenario you want, and there will hardly ever be a scenario in which being stronger will not prove beneficial, because strength makes everything easier. Since it's the foundation of all muscle activity, strength is the most general form of physical adaptation from which all of your other motor skills derive. So if you're not already strong, and you want to improve any aspect of your fitness or physical existence, then getting stronger will be the best and most efficient way. If you want to improve your endurance, but you're not already strong, get strong first, and you will find that your endurance has actually improved. If you want to improve your balance, although balance is a skill that can hardly be improved by training, but getting stronger if you're not already strong will actually improve your balance. There is no such thing as strength that isn't functional. Now, if you're already a strength specialist, okay, that's a different story. Your time may be better spent elsewhere. But the truth is that 99.9% of people out there are not strength specialists, despite what they may think. Realistically speaking, if as a healthy grown man, you're not squatting at least 500 pounds, you're not a strength specialist. Once we understand that everything we do physically is basically a strength situation, it should be easy to understand that if you're stronger, everything is easier for you. And since it's easier, it has less of an impact on your body. The stronger you are, the more resilient your musculoskeletal system and your entire body is going to be. It takes much more to stress it to the point of injury and pain. It is less likely to hurt and get hurt. If you're stronger, you're tougher and harder to break. Circling back to the beginning of the video about not needing physical therapy service, improving your strength will solve most of your physical problems. I really can't stress this enough, that if only majority of people, majority of the population would commit themselves to effective strength training at least once a week, with the use of basic barbell movements like the squat, the press, and the deadlift, as a physical therapist, I would really have very little work. Not to mention that such a thing as type 2 diabetes would pretty much not exist, and there will be much less cancer, but that's a topic for a different video. So if someone tells you that you don't really need to train for strength, and that you have no business lifting more than X number of pounds because it's not functional, or that you're much better off training your balance because that's how you prevent falls, then that person doesn't understand basic musculoskeletal mechanics and physiology, and has no business giving you any health or fitness advice. And sadly, that is exactly what you're going to hear from a lot of physical therapists out there. Now, how to train effectively? That I've covered in this video in particular, but I talk about it in many other videos as well. I also talk about the benefits of strength in greater detail quite often, but a good summary of that you can find here. Now, if you've watched this video up to this point, you may be wondering, why am I telling you this? I mean, I said it myself right in the beginning, that I'm potentially hurting my business this way by giving you what you need to know to not need a physical therapist. Well, simply, I don't possess the ability to bullshit people. I think there are already enough of the so-called fitness experts out there bullshitting you with useless advice which is based on what sells and sounds interesting rather than on what's actually effective and what works. And I want to do something different. Even if it doesn't attract as big of an audience because it's not as fun, at least I know that I'm always staying honest and continue to provide accurate information and solid, useful content. If you want to be a part of it, if you find this content informative, consider liking the video, leaving a comment, and subscribing, as it is the best way to help the channel grow. Also check out my Facebook fan page, linked in the video description. And I just destroyed half the physical therapy industry.